The purpose of Bhagwan Swaminarayan's incarnation. The Supreme Sarvavatari, Parabrahm Purushottam Narayan, manifested on this earth out of his unconditional compassion for all souls. In Vachnamrut, Gadara Section 1, number 78, Shriji Maharaj says, God who transcends Akshar, who is beyond mind and speech, and who is imperceptible, himself, out of compassion, resolves, may all the enlightened and unenlightened people on Mrityulok behold me. Having resolved in this manner, God, who will always prevail, out of compassion, becomes perceivable to all people on Mrityulok. What was the purpose of Bhagwan Swaminarayan's arrival on this earth? Shriji Maharaj himself revealed the reasons for his manifestation. In Samvat 1877 or 1820 AD, Shriji Maharaj came to Karyani to celebrate Diwali in Anukut when Gopalanand Swami arrived from Vadodara for his darshan. Shriji Maharaj greeted him with an embrace and then led him to Akshar Orari. After seating Gopalanand Swami beside him, Shriji Maharaj asked the other Swamis and devotees to leave. Nishkudanand Swami, assuming Shriji Maharaj was about to discuss something important, entered the room. However, Shriji Maharaj asked him to leave as well, directing his attention to the construction of the new washing area. With the doors of the Akshar Orari now closed, Nishkudanand Swami's curiosity was piqued, and he attempted to listen from outside. Inside, Shriji Maharaj asked Gopalanand Swami, Swami, I have come here with my Akshardham and all the muktos. Do you know why? Gopalanand Swami replied, No, Maharaj. Then Shriji Maharaj revealed to Gopalanand Swami the 6 objectives behind his manifestation on earth. 1. To propagate my Sarvopari Upasana and Gnan on this earth. 2. To preach to the followers of previous avatars the knowledge of my form and Upasana and send them to Akshardham. 3. To liberate Bhakti Devi and Dharmadev from the harassment of evil people and bless them with the bliss of my Murti. 4. To revive and spread the long-forgotten Ekantik Dharma, which consists of Dharma, Gnan, Vairagya, and Bhakti, coupled with the understanding of God's glory. 5. To give the fruits of the austerities and Bhakti in the form of my darshan to those ascetics and yogis who have been worshipping God since eternity, to fulfill the wishes of those mumukshus who have great affection for God, and to shower them with love. And number 6. To initiate swamis who embody Ekantik Dharma, build Shikharbad mandirs for worship, and create scriptures narrating my divine incidents and the principles of Ekantik Dharma, to establish on this earth the lineage of a Param Ekantik Sant, who will forever sustain Ekantik Dharma, and keep the path of liberation to Akshardham. Nilkantvarni's fearlessness. Passing through the snowy paths, shrubbery, and the valleys of the Himalayas, Nilkantvarni arrived in Shripur, a village established by Naradji. Outside the village stood a hermitage, the Kamleshwara Mutt, or a monastery. Nilkantvarni decided to sit on a small platform nearby. The villagers were drawn to this child brahmachari, whose body, though emaciated by austerities, radiated a divine glow. The Mahanchi of the Mutt also rushed to see Varni. It was evening time. The Mahanchi said to Varni, Brahmachari, please come inside the Mutt. It is dangerous to stay outside. There are wild animals. It is not wise to sit on the platform. But Varni remained silent. Thinking he was observing a vow of silence, the Mahanchi gently shook Varni and said, Maharaj, listen to me. If you do not want to come inside the ashram, please go to the village and stay there the night because there is imminent death here. Varni, peaceful and content, replied to Mahanchi, I do not stay where there are many people. I prefer to live outside a village, in a place like this, and under the sky. I am not afraid of death. Hiding from death does not prevent it. The Mahanchi found Varni's words stubborn and returned to the ashram. Varni calmly sat in a meditative posture. But the Mahanchi was restless with worry for Varni. He frequently glanced to Varni from the ashram window. The sun had set. 2 prahars, or 6 hours of the night, had passed. There was complete silence everywhere. Suddenly, breaking that silence, an earth-shaking roar of a lion was heard. The Mahanchi and the villagers woke up hearing the deafening roar. Roaring fiercely, the lion, with paws as large as plates, stamping its feet, swinging its huge tail, its eyes glowing like molten copper, slowly approached and stood before Varuni. Nilkantvarni glanced at the lion. As soon as his gaze fell upon it, the lion became motionless and, experiencing the divine bliss of samadhi, lay down at Varuni's feet. Fearfully, the Mahanchi opened the door of the window. He and his disciple stood outside of the window, watching in astonishment. After a while, Nilkantvarni began to stroke the lion's body. With Varuni's touch, the lion woke up from its samadhi and became conscious. It began to lick Varuni's feet. All the disciples and the Mahanchi looked at each other in awe and exclaimed in unison, "This is no ordinary human being, but an incarnation of Bhagwan." This lion, which kills humans and animals, and whose roar would tremble the hearts of many, had become like a docile cow before Varuni. As dawn approached, the lion bowed its head to Varuni and disappeared into the forest. The Mahanchi ran to Varuni with his folded hands and said, "Brahmachari, you are a very valorous person. I wish you to stay in our ashram. I shall make you the Mahant. We have an annual income of over 100,000 rupees. Nilkantvarni interrupted him and said, "Look, Mahanchi, if I was interested in ashrams or income, why would I have left home? I have to visit many pilgrim places and redeem countless souls, and I want to explain to the world about true satsang." He spurned the offer of Mahantship and proceeded towards the mountains. The Mahanchi and the villagers watched him go as he slowly vanished into the distance, convinced that this Varuni is the manifest form of Bhagwan, who has come for the welfare of all living beings. In this way, Nilkantvarni fearlessly continued his vichran. In Vachanamrut Gadara section 2, number 55, Shriji Maharaj says, "When I renounced my home, I did not even like to keep clothes. In fact, I liked to stay only in the forest, but I was not the least bit afraid. Even when I came across large snakes, lions, elephants, and countless other types of animals in the forest, there was not the slightest fear of dying in my heart. In this way, I always remained fearless in the dense forests." A Varuni above worldly attachments. While guiding countless souls who were lost on the path of liberation, Nilkantvarni arrived in Vanshipur. There, radiating a divine glow, he sat in deep meditation in a swastik pose under a peepal tree. The king of Vanshipur was immediately drawn to his divine presence and wondered, "Could it be that Narayan himself has come to bless me today?" Overwhelmed with devotion, the king invited Varuni to his palace. Seeing the king's sincerity, Varuni agreed. The king, showing deep respect, seated Varuni on his royal horse and personally held the reins as he walked alongside. Upon seeing this divine guest, the queen was also mesmerized. She had the darshan of Purushottam Bhagwan in Varuni. The king and queen had two daughters, Ila and Shushila, who were equally captivated by Varuni's darshan. The queen, longing for a son, felt that Purushottam Bhagwan had arrived in this form to fulfill her wish. The entire royal family, the king, queen, and princesses, became deeply devoted to serving Nilkantvarni. They enjoyed Varuni's company and wisdom so much that they developed an intense desire to keep him in their kingdom. One day, the queen approached Varuni and said, "Brahmachari, we wish to hand over this kingdom to you. We also want you to marry our two daughters. So, give up the thought of going to the forest and performing penance." But how could Varuni, who found even carrying a handkerchief burdensome, referenced in Vachanamrut Gadara section 1, number 10, bear the weight of the kingdom and the worldly bonds? Therefore, Varuni politely declined the queen's proposal. The queen, blinded by infatuation, forgot that Varuni was the supreme Bhagwan himself. In her frustration, she said, "You are still young, but when you grow older, you will not be able to live without a woman. Kamdev, or the deity of attraction, has shattered even the great sages. How will you escape?" Deluded souls bound by Maya often assume that even Bhagwan is bound by worldly desires, just as they are. Seeing the queen's ignorance, Varuni smiled within, feeling pity for her. He gently explained, My joy lies in going to the forest and meditating on Paramatma. The queen tried to frighten him by mentioning the dangers of wild animals, but Varani firmly responded, Mother, the only thing to fear is attachment. I have come to this world to redeem people from this allurement of Maya and grant them the bliss of my divine Akshardham. I have not come to be attached to a kingdom or relationships. Hearing Varani's piercing words, the queen had a spiritual awakening. The veil of ignorance in her heart disappeared and she realized the truth. That same night, Nilkant Varni quietly left Vanshipur and continued his journey. Nilkant Varni faced many temptations throughout his travels that could easily sway even the most virtuous person. King Ranjit Singh of Punjab, King Ran Bahadur of Kathmandu were ready to offer their entire kingdoms to him. Queen Kusharkuvarba of Dharampur also surrendered her kingdom of 500 villages at the feet of Shriji Maharaj. However, Shriji Maharaj remained untouched by such temptations and worldly attachments. He always remained untouched and detached from the material world. Nilkant Varni's selfless seva. As Nilkant Varni, Bhagwan Swaminarayan traversed India on foot, uplifting countless souls. During his travels from Venkatadri to Kanchipuram, he encountered Sevakram, an ascetic renowned for his Sanskrit scholarship and expertise in the Bhagavad. Impressed by Sevakram's deep understanding of the Srimad Bhagavad and his beautiful recitation of the Gopika Geet, or poems describing the love of gopis for Sri Krishna, Nilkant Varni chose to stay with him for some time. While Sevakram was a skilled orator, he lacked the qualities of a true ascetic. Despite possessing 1,000 gold coins, he had neither disciples nor anyone to serve him. During his journey, Sevakram fell ill with dysentery, suffering frequent bloody stools that left him weak and in agonizing pain. Soon he was unable to walk and began to weep in despair. Seeing Sevakram's suffering, Nilkant Varni sympathetically comforted him by saying, "Do not worry, I will take care of you." From that moment on, Nilkant Varni dedicated himself to Sevakram's service day and night. Beneath a large banyan tree in a banana grove, he prepared a comfortable bed of banana leaves 1 arm's length high. He lovingly tended to Sevakram, washing his soiled clothing multiple times a day, without hesitation or disgust. Nilkant Varni would venture into the village, beg for alms, and then cook and feed Sevakram. Despite this, Sevakram never once offered to share his food with Nilkant, even though he sent Nilkant Varni to purchase provisions with his own money. Consequently, Nilkant often had to fast when he received no alms. At times he endured fasts lasting 2 days, yet Sevakram never suggested using his funds to prepare a meal for both of them. Nevertheless, Nilkant Varni served him diligently and lovingly for 2 months until Sevakram fully recovered. Upon Sevakram's recovery, they continued towards Rameshwaram. Sevakram, now strong enough to digest a pound of ghee, made Nilkant Varni carry his heavy 20-kilogram pack. Despite having always traveled with minimal possessions, Nilkant Varni carried Sevakram's load without complaint. Sevakram showed little appreciation or concern for Nilkant Varni's well-being, treating him as a mere servant. Nilkant Varni realized he has no bhakti and no appreciation for anyone's seva. Recognizing Sevakram's ingratitude, Nilkant Varni decided to leave him. Selfless service is inherently challenging. However, to serve an inconsiderate and ungrateful person with unwavering love for months is the epitome of seva. Through this incident, we witness Nilkant Varni as the ultimate example of selfless service. Purifier of Bhakti, founder of Ekantik Dharma. Right next to Ramanand Swami's ashram in Lodj was the home of Jivaraj Sheth. Every day, Muktanand Swami would give spiritual discourses there. One day, Nilkant Varni attended this katha with some swamis. He noticed that men and women were sitting together while listening to the discourses. Nilkant Varni thought, this is an impediment to doing bhakti. This can create an obstacle in a swami's observance of 8-fold celibacy. Additionally, sitting together during katha could increase their inner distractions and sway both men and women from their path of bhakti. With this thought, Nilkantvarni immediately left the sabha. The next day, when Muktanand Swami went to deliver katha, Nilkantvarni told all the Swamis, "Come to the mandir. I will deliver katha for you there. Men and women sitting together and listening to katha like this is not appropriate according to our dharma." When it came to observing niyam dharma, Nilkantvarni did not worry about what others thought of him. Thus, after explaining this dharma to everyone, Nilkantvarni established a new tradition in which men and women sat separately to listen to katha, ensuring purity in bhakti. Nilkantvarni was new to the ashram, and though he was only 20 years old at the time, and 23 years younger than Muktanand Swami, his spiritual authority was undeniable, as seen in this prasang. One day, Nilkantvarni noticed a small opening in the ashram's wall. The house next door belonged to a grahast, or a householder, and Nilkantvarni observed a Swami and the grahast's wife exchanging live coal for cooking through the small window. Seeing this, Nilkantvarni told Muktanand Swami, "This hole in the wall will one day surely compromise the Swami's dharma. Thus, Swami should maintain no relationship with any women, whether direct or indirect, as this is considered inappropriate." Saying this, without waiting for approval from Muktanand Swami, Nilkantvarni himself plugged the hole in the wall. Muktanand Swami was deeply impressed by Nilkantvarni's firm insistence on observing celibacy, as prescribed in the scriptures, and inspiring others to observe the same. Nilkantvarni did not tolerate any impurities or compromises in dharma and bhakti under any circumstances, nor was he influenced by modern practices. His actions continue to teach and inspire future generations about the importance of celibacy and discipline in the spiritual path. Bhagwan Swaminarayan established a sampradaya in which he provided clear guidelines for both renunciates and householders on observing moral conduct between men and women. This is why we sing in the Arti, Dharma Ekantika Stapaka Bhakti Paritrata. He is the establisher of Ekantik Dharma and protector of pure bhakti. Unparalleled prayer and boon born from compassion and love. On the auspicious day of Kartik Sud Ekadashi in Samvat 1858 or 1801 AD, the city of Jetpur in Saurashtra was filled with excitement from the morning. The fragrance of the sacred ahutis or offerings and the flames of the yajna created a divine atmosphere. Devotees were swarming the streets and walkways. The appointment of Sahajanand Swami as Guru of the Satsang was marked by a ceremony following Vedic customs. Ramanand Swami placed a har around Sahajanand Swami and applied sandalwood paste and a red chandlo to his forehead. Ramanand Swami then performed arti and directed Sahajanand Swami to assume the responsibility of the sampradaya by taking a seat on his own gadi, or his own spiritual throne. Then, speaking to the Swamis and followers, Ramanand Swami said, "Today, Purna Purushottam Narayan himself has blessed this earth to establish Bhagavad Dharma and to guide countless souls to Akshardham in the form of Swami Sahajanand. Your Kalyan is ensured if you fully comprehend this Swami Sahajanand's divine form and cultivate an everlasting nishta in him." Ramanand Swami then invited Sahajanand Swami to ask for a boon on this auspicious day. With folded hands, Sahajanand Swami humbly prayed, "First, if your satsangi is to suffer the pain of one scorpion sting, then may the pain of the sting of millions of scorpions befall on each and every pore of my body, but no pain should afflict your satsangi. Second, if your satsangi is destined to have a begging bowl or face severe hardship due to their past karma, then let that begging bowl come to me, or may that severe hardship fall upon me, but your satsangi should not suffer from want of food or clothing. Please grant me these two boons." On seeing the magnanimous sentiment of Sahajanand Swami, the eyes of Ramanand Swami and the devotees became wet with tears of joy, completely awestruck and filled with profound indebtedness upon hearing this deeply compassionate and unheard of prayer. Many people empathize with the suffering of others, but Bhagwan Swaminarayan took their pain upon himself and made his followers happy. In Vachanamrut Karyani 6, Shriji Maharaj says, "I have sacrificed my body for the sake of those who are devotees of God by word, thought, and deed." Such was Bhagwan Swaminarayan's profound love. Ajani Ghadire Dhanya. The renowned poet Ladudan Gadvi was an expert in 4 languages, grammar, and the science of poetry, or the Pingal Shastra. He had mastered 24 different arts, including equestrian knowledge, or Ashvavidya, elephant training, Gajavidya, and Samudrik Shastra, or the study of body features and their significance. Gifted with exceptional intelligence, a sharp memory, and an innate ability for spontaneous poetry, he was honored with numerous titles and awards from various royal courts. These included Suvarna Chandrak, or the Golden Medallions, Raj Kaviratna, or the Royal Poet, Pingal Vidyacharya, or the Master of Poetic Science, Maha Mahopadhyay, the greatest of the great scholars, Mahashigra Kavishwar, or the Supreme Quick Poet, and Shatavadhani, a rare format of performance where the human intellect is put to the ultimate test of mental concentration on over 100 tasks at once. Once when Ladudanji visited Bhavnagar, Maharaja Vajesi Bapu summoned the royal jeweler to adorn him with gold ornaments. The jeweler had a striking Gopi Chandan tilak on his forehead, along with a round red kumkum chandlo. Curious about this, Ladudanji inquired about its significance. Before the jeweler could answer, Maharaja Vajesi Bapu interrupted and said, "Ladudan, I need you to resolve a dilemma of mine. In my kingdom, there is a village called Gadra. A man named Swaminarayan has come there. The Katis, or the warrior community, consider him to be Bhagwan. This appears to me as deception, and I request that you investigate him." Ladudan agreed to test Swaminarayan. However, the jeweler, trying to caution him, advised, "Kaviraj, if a statue made of salt enters the ocean to measure its depth, it will dissolve into the sea itself, so proceed wisely." Filled with the pride of youth, erudition, and fame, Ladudan set off to Gadra. En route, however, doubts arose in his mind. What if the rumors were true, and the goldsmith was right? Troubled by these thoughts, Ladudan resolved to impose 4 unspoken conditions upon Bhagwan Swaminarayan. He reasoned, if Swaminarayan is truly Bhagwan, then may he remove a garland of roses from his neck and place it around mine. May he address me by name and introduce me to the assembly. May he reveal to me the 16 divine marks said to be on the feet of Bhagwan, and may the Srimad Bhagavad Shastra be recited before me while resting on a black cloth. With these conditions, he reached the outskirts of Gadra. Upon entering the village, Ladudan experienced a divine peace. Sahajanand Swami was seated beneath a neem tree, surrounded by swamis and devotees. Before him, the Srimad Bhagavad Shastra was being recited while resting on a black cloth. As Ladudanji entered Dadakachar's court, Swaminarayan Bhagwan called him by name, welcomed him by presenting the rose garland he had been wearing, and introduced him to the entire assembly. Simultaneously, Ladudan observed the 16 divine marks on Srihari's feet. Overwhelmed with joy, Ladudan spontaneously composed a verse. Ajani karire dhanya ajani ghadi, me nirikya sahajananda dhanya ajani ghadi. Blessed is this moment, truly blessed is this moment, for I have seen or met Sahajanand Swami. Truly precious is this moment. In that instant, the doors of Ladudan's heart opened. He entered a state of samadhi. In his trance, he beheld Shriji Maharaj seated in the magnificent Akshardham, more radiant than countless suns and moons. Within that divine abode, infinite liberated souls experienced the unending bliss of Sri Hari's beautiful form. Even after awakening, this vision of Shriji Maharaj remained vividly etched in his mind. Ladudan was transformed from a royal poet into Sri Hari's Paramans Brahmanand Swami. A Paramans is a Swami initiated by Bhagwan Swaminarayan. The salt statue had indeed dissolved into the sea. Many Paramanses underwent similar transformations, transitioning from worldly prominence to spiritual eminence. Nityanand Swami, a scholar of the 4 Veds, possessed vast scriptural knowledge. Gopalanand Swami was a master over the 8 yogic powers, could control the movements of celestial bodies. Sant Das could enter samadhi at will, while Swarupanand Swami maintained constant awareness of his Atma. Vyapakanand Swami revived a deceased horse. Nishkuranand Swami embodied renunciation and detachment, and Muktanand Swami exemplified saintliness. Gunatitanand Swami was the incarnation of Akshar Brahma, whose every pore contained countless universes. Bhagwan Swaminarayan's charisma and power were extraordinary. He initiated over 3,000 virtuous Paramahansas, inspiring them to renounce their worldly lives and adhere to Niyam Dharma. What are the qualities of a humble servant? Sundarji Sutar, an administrator of the King of Kutch, once traveled to Gondal with the royal marriage procession from Bhuj. Upon arriving, he learned that Shriji Maharaj was in the nearby town of Bandia. Promptly, he entrusted the guards with the procession and hastened to Bandia for Shriji Maharaj's darshan. Shriji Maharaj, residing in Muru Kachar's house, decided to test Sundarji. "Who has come?" Shriji Maharaj inquired. "Maharaj, your humble servant," Sundarji replied. "What are the qualities of a humble servant?" Shriji Maharaj asked. "One who does as one is told," Sundarji answered. "Truly? Then renounce your worldly attire and ornaments immediately and become a Swami," Maharaj commanded. Sundarji relinquished his worldly possessions, shaved his head and beloved beard and mustache, and became a Swami without hesitation. Subsequently, Shriji Maharaj sent him on a pilgrimage to Kashi. Sundarji, a devotee of unwavering resolve, did not question Shriji Maharaj's seemingly odd request. Shriji Maharaj, with a grin, told Muktanand Swami, "Look at what I have done. I have transformed a minister into a renunciate." Muktanand Swami responded, "How can this be considered a great deed? While many in Kathiawar harass us, the people of Kutch were friendly due to Sundarji's presence. Now Jagjivan Karbari, the minister, who already dislikes us, will create even more difficulties. We may even be deprived of food in Kutch." Upon hearing Muktanand Swami's concerns, Shriji Maharaj said, "Then call him back." Mulji Brahmachari was sent to retrieve Sundarji. Upon their return, they bowed at Shriji Maharaj's feet. "Who has come?" Shriji Maharaj asked. "Your humble servant," Sundarji replied. "If you are a servant, then resume your original attire, take your shield and sword, and escort the prince to the bride's house," Shriji Maharaj instructed. As commanded, Sundarji, who had recently become a Swami, once again donned his worldly clothes and ornaments. However, his shaved beard and mustache could not be restored. Undeterred by potential public criticism, Sundarji obeyed Shriji Maharaj's command. Yet, this incident instilled a degree of false pride in Sundarji. He remarked to Shriji Maharaj, "Maharaj, do not subject others to such rigorous tests. They may not be able to endure them." Shriji Maharaj remained silent, but, as the destroyer of ego, he remembered Sundarji's words. Shriji Maharaj sought to eliminate all imperfections in his devotees. Even a devotee possessing the highest virtues was not immune to Shriji Maharaj's scrutiny if tainted by ego. Shriji Maharaj then devised a lila to dispel Sundarji's arrogance. During his travels, Shriji Maharaj reached Bhadra. From there, he sent a letter addressed to wealthy rulers and darbars, including Sura Kachar, Alaya Kachar, Amro Patkar, and others. Maharaj wrote, "Upon reading this letter, Macha, Sura, Somla, Mamaya, Ajja, Virdas, and other devotees, wherever you may be, at home or on your farms, renounce everything, including food and water. I will be pleased. Proceed to Jetalpur and receive initiation from Ramdas Swami. From there, journey to Kashi and meet me in Bhuj upon your return." Following Shriji Maharaj's wish, all the devotees left their homes. Kalyan Das from Kadu was amid his wedding rituals. His uncle, Ajja, arrived with Shriji Maharaj's letter, declaring his intention to become a Swami. Kalyan Das, upon reading the letter, felt compelled to follow Shriji Maharaj's command as well. Despite being in the middle of his own wedding, he decided to obey. Both of them immediately left to become Swamis, as instructed in Shriji Maharaj's letter. Although his name was not explicitly mentioned, Kalyan Das believed that infinite births have been wasted on worldly pursuits, wives, and children, but this birth offers an opportunity to be blessed by Purna Purushottam Narayan. He considered himself included in the etc. or others at the end of the devotees' names. Everyone went to Ramdas Swami. Shiji Maharaj appeared to Ramdas Swami in a dream, instructing him to bring the newly initiated Paramahansas directly to Bhuj instead. From Bhadra, Shiji Maharaj traveled to Bhuj. After several days, the newly initiated Paramahansas arrived with Ramdas Swami. Shiji Maharaj prostrated before them and walked halfway to receive them. He introduced each one to Sundarji Suthar, saying, "Each of them owns up to 5, 25, or 50 villages. Upon reading my letter, they renounced everything and rushed here with complete faith in me." Sundarji Suthar's eyes filled with tears. His ego dissolved, and he understood the significance of Shiji Maharaj's words. He recalled his remark in Bandya and sought forgiveness. Shiji Maharaj then issued a new command to the Paramahansas, instructing them to shed their newly adorned saffron robes and resume their worldly attire. All except Kalyandas, who wished to remain a Paramahans, returned home. Shiji Maharaj permitted Kalyandas to stay and named him Adbhutanand Swami. A single letter from Shiji Maharaj inspired these well-respected devotees and rulers to renounce their homes, families, and villages to become Swamis. Such was Shiji Maharaj's divinity that all who came into contact with him were freed from worldly desires and attachments. How devoted must those devotees have been, willing to obey Sri Hari's every command. A cow out of a donkey. Jhaverchand Meghani, a renowned and highly acclaimed scholar of Gujarati literature and a national poet, described Jobanpaggi's former life. Killing a human with a knife, cutting him into pieces and throwing him into the fire was like roasting eggplants to Joban. Such was Joban's fierce personality. At that time, Jobanpaggi's fear was widespread in Gujarat. It was said that Joban's arrow could travel unhindered from Gujarat to Kolkata and Pune. That is, no thief or robber dared to harass anyone carrying it. Joban had twice robbed the treasury of the Gaikwad government, which had placed a 50,000 rupee bounty on his capture. Yet, no one would betray his whereabouts. Even powerful princely states trembled before him. Joban would steal over vast distances, even in broad daylight, and remain uncaught. Once Bhagwan Swaminarayan held a grand yagna in Daban, attracting thousands of devotees from across the land. The finest horses of the great darbars were present, including Bhagwan Swaminarayan's famed Rojo Ghoro. Joban, tempted by the horse's reputation, thought, "If I had such a horse, I could travel long distances in a short time, and this would help me loot more in a short time." That night, Joban carefully entered the stable under a dense banyan tree. As he attempted to untether the horse, he saw a globe of light. Looking up, he saw Bhagwan Swaminarayan adorned in golden clothes. His hand fell back, and Joban, hiding from Bhagwan's sight, quietly slipped into the darkness. A few days later, Joban walked into an assembly to meet Bhagwan Swaminarayan. He touched Shiji Maharaj's feet, and with tears in his eyes, he slowly stood up and apologized to Shiji Maharaj in a trembling voice. "Maharaj, I came to steal your horse the past few nights, but I saw your divine form everywhere in the stable. Maharaj, I am a sinner. I did not recognize you. O Bhagwan, please have mercy upon me and pardon my great sins." Hearing Joban's heartfelt plea, Shiji Maharaj patted his back, consoled him, forgave him, gave him niyams, and told him to give up his evil deeds. Joban, who had terrorized Gujarat, became a devotee. He began a spiritual life, serving and worshipping Sri Hari. When Shiji Maharaj came to central Gujarat, Joban and his brothers served as Shiji Maharaj's bodyguards. Joban even donated his land for the construction of Vartal Mandir. Once, Joban had to go to the village of Vaso for some work. Kashyabhai was sitting on a second-story balcony overlooking the street of his house. On seeing Joban, he thought to himself, "Once upon a time, on hearing Joban's roar, or loud voice, all the doors and windows of Vaso would immediately close. Even babies would stop crying out of fear. Today, that same Joban silently walks through the streets of Vaso, wearing a tilak and a chandlo on his forehead, a kanti around his neck, and a mara in his hand." Kashyabhai, who opposed Bhagwan Swaminarayan, was astonished by Joban's transformation. Out of curiosity, he called Joban. "Oh, Joban, what magic has Swaminarayan worked on you that you walk so firmly with this bold tilak on your forehead? Did Swaminarayan miraculously turn a donkey into a cow?" Joban replied firmly, "Kashyabhai, do you still want to see a miracle? Isn't it a miracle that you can talk to me like this? I was the chief of thieves. Swaminarayan made me a devotee. He gave me a kanti around my neck and a mara in my hand. Did he not transform me, a donkey, into a cow?" Hearing this answer, Kashyabhai immediately understood the glory of Bhagwan Swaminarayan. Joban had developed a profound attachment for Srihari. When Shriji Maharaj left for Akshardham, Joban could not bear this sorrow and couldn't find peace anywhere. "How and why am I still alive without Maharaj?" he kept lamenting. The Sadgurus tried to console him. They asked him to take the ashes of Shriji Maharaj's last rites daily. So, while eating, Joban started mixing these ashes into his meals daily. He would think of Shriji Maharaj and find solace, and only then would he eat his food. One day, Joban sat down to eat. Rotla, or millet bread, and buttermilk were served in a bowl. When Joban asked for the ashes, his wife hesitantly said, "The ashes are finished." These words hit his ears, and Joban was shocked. "Huh?" His breath grew shallow, his eyes widened, and his body became lifeless. Joban went to Akshardham at that very moment. Such was Bhagwan Swaminarayan, who transformed a ferocious and ruthless robber like Joban into a great devotee. Anishuddha rice grains. The queen of Dharampur, Kushal Kaurba, had immense love and devotion for Bhagwan Swaminarayan. Despite having many servants, she personally undertook the arduous task of hand-husking rice to produce anishuddha, or flawless or unbroken grains for Shriji Maharaj. One day, Shriji Maharaj took some of these rice grains in his hand. Selecting a single grain from his palm, he asked the Swamis, "Santo, what is this?" The Swamis were surprised by Shriji Maharaj's question. Everyone knew rice was a daily staple. Why would Shriji Maharaj ask such a basic question? "Maharaj, it is rice," they replied. Shriji Maharaj repeated his question. "Santo, what is this?" Again the Swamis were perplexed. Muktanand Swami finally asked, "Maharaj, it is a grain of rice. Why do you keep asking?" Hearing this, Shriji Maharaj smiled. He rose from his seat, approached the Swamis, and showed the rice grains. "Santo, see how perfectly whole these rice grains are? Not a single one is broken, neither at the top nor at the bottom." Hearing that, Muktanand Swami said, "Maharaj, the queen removed the outer husk of every grain with her own hands, so naturally they are perfect." Shriji Maharaj smiled again. Imagine the effort required to husk each grain by hand, ensuring it remains whole. I want you all to be as perfect as these grains. Do you realize the efforts I put in to make you so? Shriji Maharaj's words caused the Swamis to reflect deeply. They were overwhelmed by the boundless compassion of Purna Purushottam Narayan. Muktanand Swami then said to Shriji Maharaj, "Maharaj, you are right. Your abode, Akshardham, transcends Maya. You strive to make us worthy of that abode by removing every imperfection. This is your immense compassion. Please also grant us the ability to strive for this perfection." Shriji Maharaj says in Vachanamrut Karara, section 2, number 45, "I don't want the slightest imperfection to remain in those who are said to be mine." How fortunate are we that Bhagwan himself has taken the responsibility to perfect us. Today, Guru Hari Mahant Swami Maharaj makes the same efforts to eradicate our imperfections and mold us into perfect grains of rice. We must now strive to make his efforts worthwhile. Please have mercy on me. In Samvat 1866 or 1809 AD, Shriji Maharaj celebrated the Fuldol Utsav in Bhuj. He sprayed so much color that the ground turned crimson red. Such an abundance of gulal was dispersed that the sky itself was painted a pink hue. The people of Bhuj experienced a festival of such captivating grandeur for the first time in their lives. The day after the Fuldol festival, the Swamis and devotees seated Sriji Maharaj on a flower-adorned swing, or a hindoro, and swung him to their heart's content. Devotees traveled from far and wide to participate in this unprecedented celebration. Following the festival, devotees from Kantkot, Dhamakada, Mandvi, Badadya, Mankuwa, and other villages sought Sriji Maharaj's darshan before returning home. Requesting his permission to leave, they said, "Maharaj, please bestow your mercy upon us." Sriji Maharaj replied with a gentle smile, "Please have mercy upon me." The devotees heard Sriji Maharaj's words, but in their eagerness to depart, they began their journey home. Along the way, they reminisced upon the festival, recalling the divine atmosphere, Sriji Maharaj's radiant appearance, and the abundance of color he had sprayed. Suddenly, one devotee asked, "As we were leaving, Sriji Maharaj told us to have mercy on him. He is the one who graces us with his mercy. Why would he have said this?" No one could answer. To resolve their confusion, they decided to return. Upon their return, they asked, "Maharaj, you asked us to have mercy on you as we were leaving. Please explain why you said this. You are our Ishtadev, the one who we pray to. You are the one who showers us with mercy." The devotees looked anxiously towards Sriji Maharaj, awaiting his response. Sriji Maharaj explained, "Your body is approximately 3.5 arms length long, and within it resides your small heart, only 3 fingers wide. It is in this heart that we reside. Therefore, keep your heart pure. If you harbor desires for worldly things, we will not wish to stay there. So please, have that much mercy on me." Hearing these words, the devotees understood Sriji Maharaj's meaning and resolved to remain vigilant, preventing worldly desires from overtaking their minds and hearts. They vowed to keep Sriji Maharaj's words at the forefront of their thoughts. The controller of infinite universes, Parabrahma Bhagwan Swaminarayan, along with Akshar, resides in a small mandir within our hearts. However, we must remain constantly vigilant to ensure that the trash of our negative tendencies or svabhavas and the worldly desires and attachments does not infiltrate that sacred space. How rare an attainment! Bhagwan Swaminarayan was residing in Sarangpur. One night, as Sriji Maharaj was about to sleep, Mahanubhavanand Swami began massaging his feet. Suddenly, Sriji Maharaj pulled his feet away. Seeing this, Swami was surprised. He asked, "Maharaj, is there some flaw in my bhakti that you are denying me the opportunity to serve your feet? We have renounced the world for you, endured insults, criticism, and hardships to please you. We have followed all your niyams and gone through every test you put before us. What more is left for us to do that you refuse us this privilege?" Hearing Swami's words of sacrifice, Sriji Maharaj smiled and shared an example. "Swami, a beggar once went to a wealthy man's house asking for alms. The wealthy man told him, 'You won't be able to digest food given for free. Instead, sweep my courtyard and I will pay you.' The beggar agreed and cleaned the courtyard. Afterward, the wealthy man asked, 'Now tell me, what should I give you as your wages?' The beggar replied, 'Give me 10 kilograms of gold.' Hearing this, the wealthy man was shocked and said, 'You did work worth just a few pennies, and yet you ask for 10 kilograms of gold?' Continuing, Sriji Maharaj said, 'Your renunciation of home, your penance, your emaciated bodies, these are akin to merely sweeping the courtyard. These efforts are worth only a few pennies to me. Yet you desire to serve Parabrahma Purushottam Narayan? In the past, great kings renounced their kingdoms and retreated to the forest for penance. Yet they did not even have a glimpse of Parabrahma Purushottam. How does your renunciation compare to theirs?" Mahanubhavanand Swami immediately recognized his error, realizing he had already received the greatest reward for his austerities, the attainment of Bhagwan. Nishkudanand Swami has sung, "Agar bhagat anekathaya, sahya tene sharire bahut dukh re, to ye prabhu pragat pamya nahi, pamya pan na avya ava sukh re." Many devotees have come before, They have endured much pain in their bodies. Even then, they did not attain the Pragat form of Bhagwan. They did not receive such happiness. Even without great efforts or worthiness, we have attained the rare association of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, the supreme ruler of infinite universes, and his divine lineage of Akshar Brahm Gunatit Gurus. This is our greatest fortune. We must now cherish and preserve this attainment with unwavering faith and devotion. Who is Swaminarayaniya? Sriji Maharaj built 6 magnificent Shikhabad mandirs to preserve Upasana. He consecrated various pairs of avatars within these mandirs. Nar Narayan Dev in Ahmedabad and Bhuj, Lakshmi Narayan Dev in Vartal, Gopinath Dev in Gadra, Madan Mohan Dev in Dholera, and Radha Raman Dev in Junagadh. He then appointed Swamis to reside in these mandirs, practice and propagate satsang. Over time, these Swamis began to identify themselves with the specific avatars of their respective mandirs, adopting labels such as Nar Narayaniya or Lakshmi Narayaniya. One day, Sriji Maharaj gathered the Swamis and instructed them, "Those who identify as Nar Narayaniya sit on this side. Those identify as Lakshmi Narayaniya sit on this side." He systematically separated the Swamis according to their perceived affiliations. When no one remained, Sriji Maharaj remarked, "Is there no Swami Narayaniya among you? You all wear my janoi or sacred thread, my kanti and my tilak, yet none of you claim to be mine?" The Swamis immediately recognized their error. They prostrated themselves before Sriji Maharaj and declared, "Maharaj, we are all Swami Narayaniya." If we relate to this incident to the present context, we see that during Samaya celebrations or while doing seva in different departments of the mandir, everyone takes responsibilities and serves with dedication. However, these sevas can sometimes become sources of attachment, leading us to think in terms of my seva, my department, my mandal, or my mandir. This mindset fosters feelings of rivalry or subtle jealousy towards devotees from other sevas, departments, or mandirs. We must remember that we are all devotees of the same Bhagwan, disciples of the same Guru, followers of the same Siddhant or principles, and members of the same Sanstha. The Satpurush is the body, and the various sevas, departments, and mandirs are all different integral parts of that body. When we neglect, envy, or fail to support a particular seva or department, we are in effect failing to support the Satpurush. On the other hand, when we cultivate a sense of unity and love with other volunteers, departments, and mandirs offering assistance and celebrating their progress, we are truly serving the Satpurush. If we serve and do bhakti with this understanding, our efforts will be truly meaningful. Mitha wala kema visaru maru. Out of immense compassion, Parabrahm Bhagwan Swaminarayan graced this earth. His primary purpose was establishing Ekantik Dharma, a mission he accomplished in just 30 short years. Subsequently, Sriji Maharaj decided to return to his divine abode, Akshardham. During his final illness, he called Gunatitanand Swami from Junagadh to Gadara. In a private meeting in Akshar Ordi, Sriji Maharaj conveyed his intention to depart for Akshardham. Sriji Maharaj instructed Gunatitanand Swami, "Through your association, teach others to cultivate my Sarvopari Nishta, inspire them to become Brahmrup, and make them worthy of Akshardham." Following this, he recited the verse, "Mitha wala kema visaru maru, tamati bandhel tanaho, tarsyane jema panidu valu, bhukhyane bhojanaho." My beloved, I can never forget you. How can I describe my attachment to you? Just as water is precious to the thirsty, and food is to the hungry, you are equally precious to me. Through these words, Sriji Maharaj revealed his oneness with Gunatitanand Swami. Emphasizing Gunatitanand Swami's mahima, Sriji Maharaj declared, "This Gunatitanand Swami is Gunatit. He transcends the 3 guns, Sattvagun, Rajogun, and Tamogun, and he is my abode, Akshardham. In his divine form, he is always with me. He is inseparable." On Jet Sud 10, Samvat 1886 or 1830 AD, The morning had inauspiciousness in the air. Bhagwan Swaminarayan, who had sanctified this earth for 49 years, independently and by his own will, returned to his divine abode. The grief of this departure spread throughout the land. Everyone, with heavy hearts, performed Shriji Maharaj's final rites at Lakshmiwadi in Gadara. After the final rites were completed, Gunatitanand Swami, carrying a tumri, or a water pot, walked towards the bathroom in Lakshmiwadi. Observing the lush green grass beside a flowing stream of water, he reflected, "Oh, just as water is the life of this grass, bringing it joy and vitality, Maharaj was my life, and he has left me." Overwhelmed by this thought, Gunatitanand Swami lost consciousness. In reality, Parabrahm and Aksharbrahm are never separate. However, the physical separation from Shriji Maharaj caused Gunatitanand Swami to faint. Within that moment, Shriji Maharaj appeared before him and awakened him, saying, "Where have I gone? I reside forever within you, forever within you, forever within you." With these words, Shriji Maharaj showered his infinite love upon Swami. Although Bhagwan Swaminarayan physically departed from earth, he remained present through his Anadi Mood Akshar Murti, Gunatitanand Swami, to ensure that the path to moksha remains perpetually open for spiritual aspirants. This incident serves as proof of this truth. Throughout the Vachanamrut, Sriji Maharaj repeatedly assured his devotees of his enduring presence through the Gunatit Satpurush. In Vachanamrut Vartal number 10, he says, "Whenever God is not manifest on this earth, one should seek the refuge of the Sant who has the realization of God, because the Jeev can also attain liberation through him." Presently, we have attained that same Shriji Maharaj through Mahant Swami Maharaj.